So this evening we will continue our discussions of Nectar of Instruction. We are still discussing the first verse, the third verse of the Nectar of Instruction. Nectar of Instruction is a summary of the process of devotional service in 11 verses, and this third verse explains us what we should do, the activities in devotional service, the attitude and the activities. It says, Utsahan nisayat daryat tattat karma pavartanat sangatyaga sato vrite sadbir bhaktir pashidati. So this verse mentions 6 principles for the execution of devotional service. So one must have the attitude of being enthusiastic, and that's endeavoring with confidence and being patient. And one should act according to the regulative principles of devotional service. There are 9 ways of performing devotional service: Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu, Smaranam, Padasevanam, Archanam, Vandanam, Dasyam, Sakyam, Atman, Nivedanam. And we have been discussing these principles now for many weeks based on a purport of Srila Prabhupada on a verse that mentions these 9 processes of devotional service spoken by Prahlad Maharaj. So we will continue with looking at this purport, and this evening we are coming at the point of discussing Vandanam. Here we have on the screen, Vandanam means offering prayers, which is also part of deity worship, but is also a separate discipline in devotional service. So Vandanam. Although prayers are part of deity worship, they may be considered separate like the other items, such as hearing and chanting, and therefore separate statements are given herewith. And that the Lord has unlimited transcendental qualities and opulences, and one who feels influenced by the Lord's qualities in various activities offers prayers to the Lord. So in this way he becomes successful. So what's mentioned is one must be influenced by the Lord's qualities to offer prayers. One must be qualified. One must have the realization of Krishna consciousness within the heart to be able to be qualified to offer prayers to the Supreme Lord. And that, and we find in the Bhagavatam many prayers offered by great devotees, and that we have the Uddhav Gita, the 11th canto, 23 chapters or even more, where Uddhav is offering prayers to where Uddhav will speak to Krishna. Well, the Uddhav Gita is factually teachings given to Uddhav, and he will repeat them to to the sages of Badrikashram, but it contains also his prayers. That you have also the Gopi Gita, that and Venu Gita, the Brahmara Gitas are all songs composed by the. They are also songs composed by the gopis that were on the highest level of realization of love of Krishna. We have also in the Bhagavatam Dhruva Maharaj. Dhruva Maharaj, after his austerities, he saw the Supreme Lord in his Krishna Garbha form with 4 arms, Narayan form, and he became ecstatic. And then the Lord touched his head with his conch. And then it is said he became completely purified and became qualified to offer prayers. And he offered beautiful prayers, which a child of 5 years normally cannot offer. But you have also in the Bhagavatam the prayers of Queen Kunti. Prayers of Queen Kunti. Queen Kunti, what was her qualification? What was our mood towards Krishna? What was our rasa? Our rasa was Vatsalya rasa. She was like a mother for Krishna. But she is the mother of the Pandavas. And that she had Vatsalya love. And in act of devotion, there is a list of great devotees with the most intense love for Krishna. And the most intense love for Krishna is Mother Yasoda. I mean, the most intense love in parental love, Vatsalya. It's Mother Yasoda. That's the one who has the most intense motherly love for Krishna. And then the next one in the list is Nanda Maharaj. And the third one is Rohini. Rohini, she's the mother of Balaram. And then of the 4th place, you have all the elderly gopis in Vrindavan who during the Brahma Mohalila, when Brahma took away the cowherd boys, so this Krishna replaced their forms, and then during 1 year, they became the son of these elderly gopis. So they are on the 4th place, and the 5th is Devaki, and the 6th are all the other queens of Vasudeva, and on the 7th place we have Queen Kunti. So she's on the 7th place. On the 8th place, Vasudeva, and the 9th place, Sandipani Muni, the guru of Krishna and Balaram. So yes, on the 7th place, we can say only on the 7th place, but this is the top of the universe, not just locally. But so she had intense parental love for Krishna, Queen Kunti. And that, of course, offering prayers, it's explained in Nectar of Devotion. Nectar of Devotion, because one may ask, I'm not qualified to offer prayers. How to offer prayers? That how to practice this limb of devotional service, Vandana. That so for this we can go to Nectar of Devotion. That the Nectar of Devotion here, yeah, Nectar of Devotion, and it is in, I think it's the ninth, further considerations of devotion service. And there you have at the end reciting notable prayers. So we can read that. So can someone read the first paragraph here, which is on the screen? Some volunteers.
Hare Krishna Maharaj.
Right.
According to great learned scholars, the whole Bhagavad Gita contains many authorized prayers, especially in the 11th chapter, where Arjuna prays to the universal form of the Lord. Similarly, in the Gotramaya Torah, all the verses are called prayers. Again, in Srimad Bhagavatam, there are hundreds of prayers of the Lord. So a devotee should select some of these prayers for his recitation. In Shankta Purana, the glories of these prayers are stated as follows. Devotees whose tongues are decorated always with prayers of Lord Krishna are always given respect, even to the great saintly persons and sages. And such devotees are actually worshipable by the demigods. Hare Krishna.
Yes, so it says one should select some of these prayers. And they are recited by those who have realizations, great realizations, who have realized Krishna consciousness in their heart. And so there are also, who are they? That so like in the Bhagavatam, Yamaraj instructs the Yamadutas and says, Svayambhu Narada Sambhu Kumara Kapilo Manu Palada Chanako Bhishmo Bharyavya Sakirvayam. Lord Brahma, Bhagavan Lord Shiva, the four Kumaras, and Lord Kapila, the son of Devahuti, that they, Swayambhuva Manu, Prahlad Maharaj, Janak Maharaj, grandfather Bhishma, Bali Maharaj, Sukadev Goswami, and myself know the real religious principles. So they have realizations. They have realized these principles. One of them is Prahlad Maharaj. We are discussing a verse spoken by him. But Prahlad Maharaj spoke also in chapter 9 in the 7th canto, beautiful prayers to Lord Nrsimhadev. And just by repeating them regularly, we get realizations that trying to repeat them feelingly. So this is a list of 12 Mahajans, but they are not the only one who has full realization of Krishna consciousness. Also, like Srila Prabhupada he offered beautiful prayers to his spiritual master and to Krishna. We have when he arrived in Boston, he wrote 2 beautiful poems. And then the first is Markini Bhagavad Dharma, a prayer to Lord Krishna, in which he's saying, Krishna, what you must have some plan to bring me here. But how will I be able to infuse this American people with Krishna consciousness? Because they have so many sinful habits. How will they accept my words? That how can I convince them? You gave me then the title Bhaktivedanta, but that well, they gave me the title Bhaktivedanta, but if you are willing, you can empower me and make this title Bhaktivedanta a reality. That so yes, that is a fact. these prayers, these prayers are very powerful. Another prayer written by Srila Prabhupada is Prayer to the Lotus Feet of Krishna. A beautiful prayer. And the refrain says, "Oh my brother, be assured, unless one has the blessings of Srimati Radharani, that one cannot approach Krishna." So, blessings of Srimati Radharani we get from the spiritual master. So yes, we have also in the Bhagavad Gita, Arjuna prays to the universal form. These are special prayers, and that they are in a different chanda sloka form in 11th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita. That because normally the Bhagavad Gita slokas, the Krishna, spoken by Krishna, yeah, I think they have 8 syllables. That yeah, like yeah. I recite just a verse from Bhagavad Gita, first verse of the 11th chapter. Mat anugaya paramam goyam adyatma samnitam yat jayuktam vasastena moyam vigato nama. So that's the typical Bhagavad Gita sloka. But then when Arjuna starts to pray these prayers, it gets another number of syllables. It's 11 syllables, whereas the typical Bhagavad Gita verse is 8. And it's another meter. It says, Arjuna vacha pashami devam tavadeva dehe sarvam stata bhuta visesha sangam brahmanamisham kamalasanastam vishimsa sarvam maragam sadivyam. Arjuna said, my dear Lord Krishna, I see assembled in your body all the demigods and various other living entities. I see Brahma sitting on the lotus flower, as well as Lord Shiva, and all the sages and divine serpents. So we find that this is the first prayer of Arjuna's prayers. And he put in these prayers his realizations, what he sees, that his impressions. By that, they did these prayers. They are giving us revealing to us the inner mood of a devotee, and you need that inner mood to write these prayers. That Nectar of Devotion speaks about that. We will address it a little later. That it mentions also the Gautamiya Tantra. I don't know this scripture, but the Srimad Bhagavatam, there are hundreds of prayers. Yes, where we have the prayers of Akrura, you have the prayers of Queen Kunti, you have the prayers of the Prashitas, that so many prayers that and we can select any for his recitation. That because by reciting them, we little by little the appropriate mood enters our heart. It's very purifying. That yes. So can someone read the second and the third paragraph, which is on the screen, please?
I can read for you.
Yeah, thank you. So can someone read? Otherwise,
All right, is it working now?
it's working. Yes.
Okay. Okay, sorry. Those who are less intelligent want to worship different demigods for some material gain rather than worship Krishna. But here is stated that a devotee who is always engaged in offering prayers to to the Lord is worshipable even by the demigods themselves. The pure devotees have nothing to ask from any demigod. Rather, the demigods are anxious to offer prayers to the pure devotees. In the Narsimha Purana, it is stated, any person who comes before the deity of the Lord Krishna and begins to chant different prayers is immediately relieved from all their reactions and simple activities and becomes eligible, without any doubt, to enter into the Vaikuntha Loka.
So this confirms that even if one only offers prayers constantly, one can get back to the spiritual world. So even one of these 9 processes of devotional service, this Vandanam, is very powerful. That it is said even pure devotees, they are, even the demigods, they are offering prayers to pure devotees. Interesting that because demigods are sakam, they want to control the material nature, that, but they want to serve Krishna like that. But still, it's a material desire, and because they are not free, completely free of material desires, they are praying to pure devotees who are completely free from material desires. That they are offering prayers to the pure devotees. So that is interesting. It is said that the devotees, the demigods, they are waiting to take birth in this world as in the house of a pure devotee, so that they can be elevated to the platform of pure devotional service, which is described in this Nectar of Devotion by Rupa Goswami. Anya bilasta sunyam jnana karmatanavitam anu kulyena krishnanu silnam bhakti uttamam. Pure devotional service is devotional service free from the desire for liberation or free from material desires for enjoyment. So that is the tatastha lakshana. That is the secondary quality of pure devotion service. But the first quality to be counted as pure devotion service is that one wants to serve Krishna and please Krishna favorably. That and that's pure devotional service. And devotees who practice this are called pure devotees. That so this Nrsimha Purana gives us clear an indication of any person who comes before the deity of Krishna, begins to chant different prayers, is relieved from all the reactions. So it's purifying. Therefore, it's important to offer prayers every day. notable prayers. And we offer also every day notable prayers. We are chanting every morning at Mangalarti the Govastakam, eight verses glorifying the activities of the spiritual master. Some beautiful prayers. And then we have the prayer of Tunashingadev, that from Gita Govinda, Tavakara Kamala Varena Kam Abduta Shingam, Dalitayaranyakasi Putanubhangam, Kesavadirta Nagari Rupa Jai Jagadisare, Jai Jagadisare, Jai Jagadisare. So that's a prayer to Lord Nrsimhadev from Gita Govinda, but it's part of the Das Avatar prayers. 10 prayers to different avatars. That and this is the Gita Govindam. That Gita Govinda glorifies also Lord Jagannath. That very beautiful. And that and all these incarnations and many other parts of Gita Govinda. This is only a small part. But then if we want to offer prayers, what is the inner attitude? Inner attitude is explained before here in Nectar of Devotion. Attitude for offering prayers is submission. We must offer prayers in a mood of submission. So it is said there in the Skanda Purana, there is a statement about submission unto the lotus feet of the Lord. It is said that those who are sober devotees can offer their submission to Krishna in the following 3 ways. So it speaks about sober devotees. Sober devotees are austere in the sense that they are not striving for sense gratification. That's important, because otherwise one's mind dwells the entire, and otherwise one's mind remains absorbed in thoughts of sense gratification. Therefore we fast on Ekadashi. We are very careful with eating. That like I've seen great devotees, many times they are not taking breakfast even. They are eating very frugally. And they may take lunch, but then no dinner, no. That's the simple living. That's just what the body needs. And mostly they are healthy. Like that intermittent fasting between meals is very good. But I mean that's part of the qualification that will give us control to the senses. One must control the tongue. So that's what means sober devotees. That sober devotee means also they see the reality of life. They have understood material life is full of suffering. Unless I emerge my consciousness in spiritual consciousness, that there is no hope. And therefore they have a mood of, then you can have a mood of submission, because otherwise you are in a controlling mood. If you always want to eat, that's a controlling mood. I'm going to conquer material energy. But if you always want to serve Krishna, that's something else. That requires submission to the process of devotional service. And that submission, Rupa Goswami says, can be expressed in 3 ways. Shampartanatmika, very feelingly offering prayers, feelingly. And he gives 3 categories, but he will explain these three categories and give examples. The second is Dainya Bodhika, humbly submitting oneself, and 3 is Lala Samai, desiring some perfectional stage. But that perfectional stage is a perfectional stage in devotional service. Therefore, Rupa Goswami says this desiring some perfectional stage is spiritual life, not sense gratification. When one realizes something of his constitutional relationship with the Supreme Personality of Godhead, he understands his original position and wants to be reinstated in this position, either as a friend, servant, parental, or conjugal lover of Krishna. What does that mean? When one realizes something of his constitutional relationship with the Supreme Personality of Godhead. What is our constitutional relationship? In Sanskrit it's called Svarup. Yeah, that... So Lord Chaitanya said, Shivera Svarupa Hoi. The constitutional position of the Jiva, of the spiritual the spirit soul in this world. Shivera Svarupa Hoi. That's Krishna Nityadas. We are a servant of Krishna. So that's our original position. And when the heart, and that original position is there in our heart. It's not something we have to develop. We are servant of Krishna, but now we are projecting our service attitude to things in this world. We want to serve others. The man wants to, the husband wants to serve the wife wants to serve the husband. That it's projected on different levels. One wants to serve the nation if it's expanded. One wants to serve the family. That's one. If there is no one to serve, one will keep a dog and serve the dog. So that's natural. We have to serve, but this service attitude must be directed toward Krishna. And then by practicing devotional service in that mood of a servant, we become purified. And Krishna will reveal what kind of servant we are, in which mood. Like you have the mood of being a friend of Krishna, the Sakyaras. Sakyaras, friends are also servant of each other, that's included. And parental love is a service attitude that goes further. Parental love is also a servant of the children, is the friend of the children. It's included, it's more intense. And conjugal love includes all the previous moods. It's the most intense. So when one's heart becomes purified after many years, Krishna will indicate, because if all the dust is going from our heart, then we will become attracted to Krishna in one of these moods naturally. And then one wants to attain that perfection. That's also the technique to enhance that is explained also further in Nectar of Devotion as Raganuga Bhakta. It's the Raganuga Bhakta will follow in the footsteps of a Ragatmika Bhakta. So the Ragatmika Bhakta means one who has attained perfection. It's a resident of the spiritual world of Goloka Vrindavan, and one wants to follow that mood. One becomes attracted to that mood and start to read more about this particular mood, and one develops the desire to attain that mood, and that's called Lala Samai. one desires to attain against one's natural position. And that's the perfect liberation. Liberation is not getting rid of material suffering. Liberation means attaining again one's relationship with Krishna. And that is also free from suffering. That's a side effect. But free from suffering, liberation is not the goal. It's a stage of perfect liberation, which called Svarupa Siddhi, when one has realized one's relationship with Krishna. And that's one's original relationship with Krishna. So that's the Lala Samayi, desiring to attain that perfection, and pray to Krishna, please help me to attain that. And then we have examples of prayers which are given by Srila Prabhupada in Nectar of Devotion, and he quotes them. In the Padma Purana, there is a statement of submission in feeling by devotees, praying to the Lord. My Lord, I know that young girls have natural affection for young boys, and that young boys have natural affection for young girls. I'm praying at your lotus feet that my mind may become attracted unto you in the same spontaneous way. So no boy or girl have to learn how to become attracted to each other. It's natural. So he's praying that my mind always become attracted to you. Because in the Bhagavatam, we have a similar prayer there. In the prayers of Queen Kunti. And she prays that Tvayi me nanya visaya matir madhu pate sakrit ratim utva hata ada gangavargam udamvati. A lot of madhu. As the Ganges forever flows to the sea without hindrance, let my attraction be constantly drawn unto you, without being diverted to anyone else. That's the prayer of Queen Kunti. Let my attention always go to you. Let me never forget you. It's similar to this prayer here. I'm praying at your lotus feet that my mind become attracted to you in the same spontaneous way. And Srila Prabhupada explains this example is very appropriate. When a young boy or girl sees a member of the opposite sex, there is natural attraction without the need for any introduction. Without any training, there is natural attraction due to the sex impulse. So that natural attraction is there in our heart, but it's now covered over by these material desires. Once these material desires are removed, that natural attraction comes out. Prabhupada writes, this is a material example, but the devotee is praying that he may develop a similar spontaneous attachment for the Supreme Lord, free from any desire for profit and without any other cause. This praying for this purity in devotional service, to come to pure devotional service. So the natural attraction for the Lord is the perfectional stage of self-realization. Once one has this natural attraction, paramdristvani vartate, one has the higher taste, and then it becomes easy in devotional service. It becomes natural. And that is the stage of perfection. If you come to that state of perfection, guaranteed you will think at the time of death of Krishna, you will go back to the spiritual world. And then he gives another example from the Padma Purana. Says, my dear Lord, there is no sinful living entity who is more of a sinner than myself, nor is there a greater offender than myself. I am so greatly sinful and offensive that when I come to confess my sinful activities to you, I am ashamed. So that's a natural position of a devotee. He thinks always, I'm a great offender. Like we can read that also in the Bhagavatam. We are discussing we have just discussed in the VHG Bhaktivedanta course the surrender of Bali Maharaj. And Bali Maharaj is arrested by the ropes of Aruna and is before Vamandev and Prahlad Maharaj, his grandfather. And he feels because Vamandev asked for 3 steps, but with 2 steps he took the entire universe, and then he asked, where do I put my 3rd step? And Bali Maharaj said, on my head. But he felt that he was not serving Lord Vamandev appropriately, and he fell short of the mark. So that's a very healthy attitude. Never think yourself, I'm doing a great service. No, I could do much better. So that is humbleness. That we did everyone did so many sinful activities in the past, offensive, and we should be aware of that. We are now fortunate to be in the process of devotional service, but what did we before? That so a devotee remembers that, and that's a natural position for a devotee to be humble. A devotee thinks always, if something goes wrong, the fault lies in me. That so Prabhupada writes, and as far as the conditioned soul is concerned, there is no wonder that he has some sinful activities in his past life, and this should be admitted and confessed before the Lord. As soon as this is done, the Lord excuses the sincere devotee. So one must sincerely pray that to the Lord. But that does not mean that one should take advantage of the Lord's causeless mercy and expect to be excused over and over again while he commits the same sinful activities. So that's also an offense. Once you come to Krishna consciousness, you must stop these sinful activities. That not like the Christians who confess once a week the same sins every week, but they never stop doing these same sins. That was a criticism of Prabhupada. That it's different in devotion service. We are different. That like when Lord Chaitanya forgave Chagai and Madai, 2 sinful Brahmins who had come to devotional service. He said, I will forgive you, but on one condition, you never do these sinful activities again. You stop it. That because otherwise we become shameless persons. But when we come to confess our sinful activities, Prabhupada said, we should become ashamed. If a person is not ashamed of his sinful activities and continue the same sinful activities with the knowledge that the Lord will excuse him, that is most nonsensical position. Such an idea is not accepted in any part of the Vedic literature. It is a fact that by chanting the holy name does not mean that after being washed off, one should again begin sinful activities, expect to be washed again. These are nonsensical propositions and are not admitted in devotional service. Someone may think for a whole week I may commit sinful activities, and for one day I will go to the temple or church and admit my sinful activities, so that I can become washed off again and begin my sinning. This is most nonsensical and offensive. It is not acceptable by the author of Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu with his Rupa Goswami. That. But then Prabhupada writes about this Lala Samayi. Lala Samayi was before desire for some perfectional stage, the Lala Samayi. And it gives examples. A statement of submission accompanied by desire for perfection from Narada Pancharatnam. The devotee says, my dear Lord, when shall that day come when you ask me to fan your body and according to your pleasure? You will say, you just fan me in this way. The idea in this verse is that the devotee's desire to personally fan the body of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. That means that he is desiring to become the personal associate of the Supreme Lord. Of course, any devotee in any capacity, either as servant, friend, or conjugal lover, always has direct association with the Lord. But according to his different individual taste, a person desires for just one of these relationships. Yes, it said, desiring to become a personal associate of the Lord. So it's a purpose as a devotee has direct association with the Lord. If you become pure, then you have direct association with the Lord. You feel Krishna's presence in the heart. You communicate with Krishna. Krishna replies. That is what Prabhupada said. I did not write these books. Krishna personally dictated me these books. But then Prabhupada says, but according to his different individual taste, a person desires for just one of these relationships. Here the devotee is desiring to become a servant of the Lord, desiring to fan, as does his internal energy, Lakshmi, the goddess of fortune. So this is how we connect with the spiritual energy. That's true devotional service. And this eternal energy is Srimati Radharani, and Lakshmi is the expansion of Srimati Radharani, represents its eternal energy, the goddess of fortune, because she's always busy with serving the Supreme Lord. So the devotee who prays here, he also wishes that the Supreme Personality of Godhead will be pleased to give him directions how to fan. So that's a transcendental desire called Lala Samayi Vihyapti, perfectional stage of realization. Then Prabhupada mentions Narad Pancharatnam, another example. My dear Lord, O lotus-eyed one, when will that day come when on the bank of the Yamuna I shall become just like a madman and continue to chant your holy names with incessant tears flow from my eyes? So also Lord Chaitanya, it prays Yuhaitam Nimeshena, Yuhaitam Shirat Sarvam Govinda Virename. This verse, I forgot the entire verse, but it's also Lord Chaitanya. It says, a moment will appear to be as 12 years of time, and the whole world will appear to me as vacant on account of not seeing you. my dear Lord. That so it's Prabhupada writes, one should feelingly pray and become eager to render its particular type of service to the Lord. That is the teachings of all devotees, especially Lord Chaitanya. And in the last paragraph, he writes how to cry for the Lord. Laulyam. That laulyam is also applicable to our chanting of the holy names. Prabhupada many times says one should chant a holy name in the mood of a small child. That a child cries for the mother and only wants the mother. It's very intense. It's focused. It's full with longing to get the mother. It wants only the mother. And that so we should chant the holy name in that mood. Prabhupada said. Yeah, and he says one should learn this small technique, and he should be very eager and actually try to become engaged in some particular type of service. So that's called laulyam, and such tears are the price for the highest perfection. So one must be eager to get it. That's the price to get the perfection in devotional service. See, if one develops this laulyam or excessive eagerness for meeting and serving the Lord in a particular way, that's the price to enter the kingdom of God. Otherwise, there is no material calculation for the value of the ticket by which one has to enter the kingdom of God. The only price for such entrance is laulyam lala samai, the desire and the great eagerness. So this is in summary about prayers and the mode to offer prayers, the appropriate mode. So we can recite notable prayers like we do in the temple every morning, Guru-Vastakam, that Nrsimha prayers, and then Guru-Vandana is the Shiguru Charana Padma, the glorification of the spiritual master. We have also the Tulsi prayers. Our morning program is full of prayers, notable prayers. And we should certainly pray this every day. Even if we don't go to the morning program, you pray these prayers. You read them, you recite them. It doesn't take long. It will enter your heart, that mood, the correct mood. But we should also regularly read the prayers of great devotees. Like some prayers and some devotees every day recite the prayers of Queen Kunti. It doesn't take so long, but you come into the mood of Srimad Radharani. And that humble service mood of surrender makes us advance in devotional service. So that was today about Vandana. Are there any questions, please? Comments, sharing realizations?
Hare Krishna Maharaj. So I'm overwhelmed with all this, which is to be expected. But let's just talk about Vaikuntha Loka. So there's Goloka, there's Vaikuntha, there's many planets in Vaikuntha. And our desire leads us to different planets, or am I completely mistaken? And they're all different aspects of the Lord, correct? Like Vishnu or Krishna, or I guess Radha probably has a planet.
So in the Vaikuntha Lokas, there are two parts of the spiritual world. You have the Vaikuntha Lokas, which are with innumerable spiritual planets. And you have Goloka Vrindavan, is the biggest planet. Goloka Vrindavan or Krishna Loka. According to our desires, if we attain perfection, according to our mood and according to the intensity of our love, we go to different places. That in the mood in the Vaikuntha planets is a mood in awe and reverence, because one is aware Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And they are all in the Das mood, they are servants of the Supreme Lord. In the Vaikunthas, the Lord is called Narayan. Narayan has 4 arms. That's a special feature. But those who are desiring to develop more intense love, they forget that Krishna is God. And they develop a more intense mood in friendship, Sakyaras, in parental love, Vatsalyaras, conjugal love, that the Smadhuryaras. These are more intense relations with Krishna. And for that, the love must be so strong that the consideration that he is God is secondary. That in parental love, one sees Krishna as one's son. It's a higher position. That and friends are equal. And Madhurya love, Ras lovers, yeah, that's the highest stage. If one develops this more intense love, one goes to Goloka Vrindavan or Krishna Loka, not to the Vaikuntha Lokas. That in the Vaikuntha Lokas you have innumerable planets. And according to our mood, we go to certain planets. So you have a planet called Ayodhya, and that's the planet of Lord Ramachandra. And there you have devotees like Hanuman and others who are serving the Lord. If we are in the mood of Hanuman, we can go to that planet. That you have Dvarka, is also a planet in the spiritual world, where the Lord is worshipped in great opulence. But one is aware of God's greatness. So you have innumerable planets there. Because all incarnations have their planet there, and there are innumerable incarnations. But the planets in the Vaikunthas, they produce their own light. They are very effulgent, not like the planets here. They need the sun to. It is said these planets have their effulgence in Vaikuntha as thousands of suns rising at the same time. That, of course, one has a spiritual body there, that it's not under the material elements. But this description of Vaikuntha you can read in the 3rd canto, that near the end you have a chapter description of Vaikuntha, where it's all this described. And Goloka Vrindavan is fully described in the 10th canto of the Bhagavatam. So there are different destinations in the Vaikuntha worlds. Vaikuntha means Kunta means misery, and Vai means without. There is no misery in the spiritual world. Vaikuntha. And the most ecstatic love is found in Goloka Vrindavan. And Lord Chaitanya wants us to bring to the highest level of love and go to Goloka Vrindavan. Because to go to Goloka Vrindavan, one must have a relationship and the mercy of a resident of Vrindavan. And the highest resident of Vrindavan is Srimati Radharani. And Lord Chaitanya he has that mood of Srimad Radharani, and he can bring us to Goloka Vrindavan by his mercy if we follow his instructions. Does that help?
Thank you, Maharaj. Most definitely. It gives me more hope and faith. And thank you again for an awesome class. Hare Krishna.